Fanatic Brackets Season 2, Episode 10. I am Nick, your host. With me, as always, is my co-host, Joel Otero.
Yo.
Today, we are doing the bracket of the greatest high flyer. And today, we are joined by none other than Chrissy Tina from La Familia. What's going on, Chrissy? How are you?
What's up, guys? I'm super excited to be here today. Thank you guys so much for having me.
You're welcome. You're welcome. A long time coming. We've known each other. We've been communicating a lot over the past couple of months. So glad to have you on and doing this collab with us. So you came up with the topic of the greatest high flyer. This was a while ago that you came up with this, but is there a specific reason why you decided with the high flyer list, or was it just something that you thought of randomly?
Absolutely. High flyers have always been super important to me, only because high flyers are usually very much associated with Lucha Libre. And Lucha Libre is a very, very big Latin culture style of wrestling. And I try and represent all Latinos as much as I possibly can, because people don't realize just how integral Latinos are in the world of wrestling, how integral Mexicans, Dominicans, Latinos, Puerto Ricans, everybody, how important we are. And I think it's nice to know that there's people of all creeds and colors now that say that Lucha Libre is their preferred style of wrestling, and it comes from a Latin background. So I personally feel like that's something super important and something to be proud of. And I think it deserves a shout out.
For sure. A lot of great Latin wrestlers in this list. So can't wait to see what we choose and who wins moves on to the next round. Mm-hmm. But great topic, great reasoning. I mean, I was glad when you came up with this topic. So the rules of the show for those listening or watching who have not watched an episode before, all three of us are going to go matchup by matchup, choosing which one out of the two is the greatest high flyer. Whichever participant gets 2 or 3 votes, obviously between the three of us, move on to the next round until we reach the finals. Obviously, we're going to give our reasonings of why we choose that specific high flyer is greater than the other. And then, this is not any way, shape, or form like a specific way to look at it. We could look at it based on an in-ring style, who had a better career, more championships, impact on the company, or wrestling in general. So there's not really a specific way to look at it. But anyways, enough of me yapping. Back it out of the way. Let's get right into the bracket. Chrissy, because you're our guest, we're going to start off with you with the first matchup. We have Billy Kidman going one-on-one against Rey Mysterio. Who do you think was the better high flyer between the two, and why?
Oh no, I don't understand how I'm ever going to choose. Who's your AI that ordered this list out? Because I feel like this is like your number one slot pick and like your last final slot pick. And I'm not a sports girly like that. And even I understand that reference. Yeah. Now, don't get me wrong. Billy Kidman is super important to the 90s to early 2000s era of wrestling. Very big in WCW, super important in WCW, very important in early, I would say like Invasion, Attitude Era to like late Attitude Era to early Ruthless Aggression. Billy Kidman was definitely a staple. My personal favorite actor in the Ready to Rumble movie with David Arquette. But yeah, just in case someone's new here, it's Rey Mysterio. I don't understand why y'all gave me this one, unless y'all just don't want me to talk and want me to keep it short. I get that too. But yeah, it's definitely Rey Mysterio. Rey Mysterio is a lot of people's Mount Rushmore, is on a lot of people's Mount Rushmore, and very much going back to the importance of Latinos in wrestling. Again, it gives my heart joy knowing that no matter who you are in the world, that there's probably going to be a Latino on someone's Mount Rushmore list, and more likely than not, it's going to be Rey Mysterio. Yeah. From his origins to the importance of the matches that he's done, to the longevity of his career, to the influence he's had on current superstars. So much so to the point where he's now literally the father of one of the biggest heels in wrestling now. And no matter what people like to say, in reality, we all know that Dominic is learning a lot from his father. And that's why he's as good as he is. You can do a lot worse than learning from the wellspring that is Rey Mysterio Jr. So yeah, I love Billy Kidman. I had a huge crush on white boys with long hair when I was younger. Don't get me wrong, but it's Rey. It's gonna be Rey.
1,000%. Great reasonings. Joel, would you agree with her, or are you going to choose Billy Kidman?
1,000%. I mean, shout out Billy Kidman. Beautiful shooting star press. Hurt myself a couple times when I was younger trying to do that move. But it has to be Rey Mysterio.
I mean, 1,000% me too. I'm gonna go with Ray. You guys pretty much, Chrissy said it all. I mean,
Yeah, come on. What else are we adding to that, Nick?
I'm
Come on.
besides the fact that he was personally one of my favorites, and the reason why high flyers or cruiserweight style of wrestling is one of my favorites today. Without seeing Rey Mysterio's moveset, I wouldn't be a fan of that and that culture of wrestling. And I guess you could say he's a real life superhero to many people. The mask, besides of what it represents in the Latin culture, he looks like a real life superhero. And his motto of heart over height pretty much sums up his entire career and what he's accomplished at everything from WCW till now. Still going at it at what 50? I think he's 50.
Mhm.
To be able to move at his age, I don't know what he's taking, but it's working. But it's this guy's in phenomenal shape, and again, he's still going at it. And like Chrissy said, he's the father of the greatest heel of all time. Without that moment at what was it, Clash at the Castle 2 years ago, you would never witness the greatest heel of all time. Currently, I should say. So Ray has had an impact at many people, and he deserves to go far in this bracket. But we shall see where he goes. So shout out Ray. Ray is phenomenal. But yeah, Rey Mysterio moves on to the next round. Joel, we're gonna start off with you with the next round. Who do you think is the greatest high flyer between Evan Bourne or Matt Sydal or Grand Metalik?
No shade to Grand Metalik, but I feel like it's Evan Bourne 1,000%. I mean, the way this guy moves around the ring, the way he puts himself in positions that are a lot of times we saw for the first time. He was one of those guys that kind of came in after Ray that was like, oh wow, like people are doing other stuff, like trying to innovate when it wasn't like there yet, which we'll talk about later in the bracket. It wasn't there yet with the innovation, but still just such a different look, especially in the PG era where he was. Um, it was fun to have that one guy that was going crazy. You know what I mean? Because we did have like Shelton when we were growing, like in the Ruthless, but no one really in the PG era. In the PG era, it was all about Evan Bourne. And he held it down for all the high flyers, so I gotta give it to him.
True, true. Chrissy, who would you say, Evan Bourne or Grand Metalik?
See, this is a little bit more difficult for me because, yes, everything that Joe just said with Evan Bourne, 100% don't disagree. But I feel like Grand Metalik's career has just started. And from where he is to now, in terms of his moveset, is leaps and bounds above a lot of his peers. And what's promising about Grand Metalik is that he still has a lot of his career to go ahead of him. So we're looking into the future with Grand Metalik. We're looking into the past with Evan Bourne. It's very difficult for me, but I might need to give it to Grand Metalik. Not that Evan Bourne is not important to the cruiserweight or the high flyer divisions, but I feel just coming out of the gate with what their move sets, like, let's put it right now, spades to spades. If we compare what Grand Metalik's style is right now in comparison to what Evan Bourne's style was when he was most relevant, Grand Metalik would take it because he's able to do just a little bit more. He has just a little bit more spring in his step, for lack of a better term. So for me personally, I would give it to Grand Metalik just based off of what he's able to do at his prime, which is right now, in comparison to what Evan Bourne was doing in his prime years ago.
Ooh, both of you made great points with these two. Wow. But I do like what Joel said with how he described Evan Bourne. You said fun. I didn't think about that just now, where it's like it was fun to watch him wrestle. Not saying Grand Metalik wasn't fun.
Mm-hmm.
Grand Metalik was involved in one of the most important times in cruiserweight, during the 205 Live era, Lucha House Party, made everything fun, and he made the best out of that. And he's still, again, from what I'm seeing of him now, he's still going at it, still in the best shape and the best time of his career.
Oh, he's killing it.
Yeah, but Evan Bourne, I'm gonna have to choose Evan Bourne because of how fun he was during that time. That was the early time when I started watching wrestling, and the way I saw him move, and Joel, you and I discussed this before we even started recording, where like he was just bouncing all over the place. Pause. But he was going at it and just flying all over the place. You know what I mean? Like he was just the best way I could describe it, just Spider-Man. You know what I mean? Like he's like the human Spider-Man, actual real life Spider-Man. You know, without the webs, of course. But he was just moving as if like he just didn't weigh anything. Like
Yeah,
that's just
which is insane.
yeah. And then it was just the moveset was insane. The shooting star press, amazing. The RKO he took from Orton that one time.
It's still legendary. It's
Yeah.
still legendary.
Yeah.
That no one can hold me.
Out
Yeah,
of
go
nowhere,
ahead, sorry.
man.
But
Yeah.
that's what I'll give to. But that's why I fought for Grand Metalik, because if you think about it, Evan Bourne's most memorable moment is him taking a move, not him delivering a move.
That is true. That is true. But I don't know. I just feel like his moveset was.
It's up there. It is up
Yeah.
there. It is up there.
Yeah.
I mean, y'all's way too tan to be voting for the white boy, but you know, here we go. It's the person in. We'll see what else happens.
Listen, Evan Bourne was at a time that there wasn't a lot of innovation with high flying. You had Ray, and that was really
It's wild. It's wild. Evan Bourne is one of those wrestlers. It's very much like Jeff Hardy. Like Jeff Hardy could show up at anyone's carne asada and they'll claim him. They'll claim Jeff Hardy.
Exactly.
I feel like Evan Bourne's another one. Well, he'll get claimed up real quick and no one will have an issue.
Yeah, he gets the pass this time. Yeah.
Yeah. He gets the point.
Yeah, so I mean, I love Grand Metalik, but it's just Evan Bourne was something else, man. I can't describe it. Can't describe it. Now, this next matchup.
Oh, here we go.
It actually happened in real life. This match. We have Ricochet versus Will Ospreay. I'll kick this one off. I don't know if this is a hot take, but I'm gonna go with Ricochet. Personally, I love Ospreay. This was tough. Okay, this could have been a final matchup, for all we know, but these two have they obviously work well together. We've seen the recent match and the other matches they've had in the past. They go hand in hand, peanut butter and jelly. The two high flyers that are great in the ring. People say it's gymnastics. I hate that word, but
shout out Vader.
Yeah, it's and there's no one on this list that has the high flying ability like Ricochet. Maybe a Prime Rey Mysterio, that's it. But currently today, not of all time. Currently today, I feel like no one's moveset can compare to his. Ospreay can come close. And his ability, I can compare him to, Evan Bourne, but I say he's like the modern day Spider-Man. Evan Bourne was like that back in the day, but I think if I give that title to someone now, it's Ricochet. And that impresses me, his in-ring ability. So I love Ospreay, but I just think Ricochet moveset-wise can do a lot more in the ring than Ospreay. Chrissy, who would you say was the better high flyer, Ricochet or Will Ospreay?
Once again, I need to talk to your AI, because who the fuck is making the order of this list?
This was random.
Who's pairing these people up?
I'm gonna fire this site
just immediately. Yeah, it's Ospreay for me. It's Ospreay for me. It's not a question. They're both amazing in-ring flyers. So when you're both amazing in-ring flyers, you have to look at the other aspects of the wrestler themselves. Ricochet, in my personal opinion, as of right now, is now a 100% total package. Great in ring, super charismatic, but not where it needs to count for him, like on the mic, like with connecting with the crowd.
Yeah.
He was more relatable due to the fact that he was married to Samantha Irvin than he is on his own. Ospreay, on the other, can cut the promos, can do the vignettes, and also can deliver in the ring. That's the reason why I'm going with Ospreay. They're both ridiculously talented people, and let's get this out the way for anyone that's trying to say anything else. I can't do what these people do. I'm not saying that I could do it better. I can barely jump 6 inches off the ground. I've gotten hit by a parked car. That's how accident prone I am. So the fact that these people can do the amazing feats that they can is absolutely amazing. But when you're comparing the best of the best to each other, you need to start and nitpick at what exactly they offer. And Ricochet's amazing physically, but that's, as of right now, for me at least, all he offers. Where with Ospreay, he can do the high flying, he can cut the vignettes, he can do the promos. So if you're looking for more of a total package, for me, it's Ospreay.
Ooh, yeah, that's a good point. I didn't think about the promo part, but that's a good point. Joelle, who would you... I know your answer.
You know who it is. Yeah. You know it's Ospreay.
Yeah.
Come on, man. Like, listen, I agree with Chrissy. He is the total package. Like, he has everything. I think Ricochet was it hurt him a little bit that he signed with WWE. It kind of grounded him while Ospreay got to be on the Indies, be in Japan, and still develop all of his skills in ring, out of the ring. WWE didn't really give Ricochet that kind of push or even try to really show it. So you gotta give it to Ospreay. Again, never know. Maybe in a couple years, Ricochet becomes the total package. Maybe in AEW, this molds him and he becomes that guy. But right now, it's Ospreay.
Yeah, that is true. I was just looking at the in-ring quality only. I didn't think of the full package part, but
Nick, and even then, you're wrong. Now I'm fucking.
You're the host.
Yeah. I mean, I could take this loss. I mean,
nah, come on. It's between these two. It's not really.
It's rough.
It's not really.
Rough.
Yes. I can get roasted by this. I don't care, but I understand the reasonings behind it. But
it's nothing crazy.
Yeah.
Shout out Ricochet though.
Exactly. Shout out Ricochet. And again, I might fire the app for randomizing this matchup. But this might be another one in the case. You know what I mean? Eddie Guerrero and Dominic Mysterio. Joel, I'm going to start with you on this one again.
You gonna let me talk about the GOAT? You gonna let me talk about the GOAT? Okay.
Which GOAT are you talking about?
We're talking about Eddie, baby. Eddie's taking this one. Are you kidding me? Listen, with all that praise Chrissy gave in the first round, like in the first bracket with Ray, without Ray, you can't talk about Eddie without talking about Ray. You know what I mean? So Eddie's in-ring ability, if you want to talk about the whole package, he's even the whole package. I don't even know if I really have to give an argument. No shade to Dom. He's doing his thing right now. He's incredible. Can't take nothing away from him. But for years, Eddie was in that ring, making it look incredible. He was one of the... As a Puerto Rican, that was the first dude I saw, and I was like, this is my guy. Eddie's my guy. He was incredible, whether he was doing tag matches in the heavyweight champion picture and the IC title. This guy was doing it all. No matter who he was fighting, he was flying around that ring. Was it like Rey Mysterio? Was it the most impressive? No. But can I do it? Hell no. He was incredible at making it look good. He made everyone look good, whether it was him doing a high flying move or taking a high flying move. And I give that a lot to him, because if you see, like with Rey Mysterio, a couple of those moves, you need the perfect dance partner to make that happen. And Eddie was that guy. Eddie was that guy for a lot of people. And that's why I'm giving this round to Eddie.
Oof. I mean, I'm going to 1,000% agree with you. I'm choosing Eddie as well. I feel like, the frog splash was just super cool the way he did it. I know there's someone on this list who could probably look even cooler, but...
I mean, he got higher.
Yeah, but it was just, Eddie was just, I think it just looked a lot better the way he did it. There's certain people that could do certain moves, but there's certain people that could perfect certain moves and make it look cooler. Dominic is way too young at the moment. You know what I mean? And kind of what you said, Joel, about Ricochet, give Dominic a couple of years, maybe my list would change. You know what I mean? Maybe I would have chosen Dominic in 10 years from now. But at the moment, I mean, there's not much that Dom can offer besides being a great heel and getting booed. Yeah, he's great in the ring, but again, we have to see more of him in the future to get that full package. His promo ability is good, but we always see him getting booed and barely hearing him talk. So that's like still questioning for me.
He's
Eddie
doing his job, Nick.
Yeah, no, I'm not saying it's his fault, but I'm saying like we can barely hear most of the time. So it's like Eddie, all of his matches were great. The story of him beating Brock and becoming champion, that whole story of being like the underdog and everything about Eddie was just, he had it. And I just loved everything that he did. Chrissy, who would you say, Eddie, or Dom?
Eddie or Eddie?
Yeah, Eddie.
The one thing I will stick up for Dom in slight pushback to what you said, Nick, is that I feel like Dom is amazing right now. If it was Eddie and Dom in the same space, in the same time, in the same amount of time that they spend in their careers, I feel like it would be a way tighter race. The fact that Dominic doesn't need to speak during his heel promos because he's getting booed so loudly, I think that is what is his selling point. It's the definition of what aura is. He doesn't have to speak. All he has to do is just breathe slightly into the mic, and he's getting booed for 10 minutes straight. Like, that's how much he's able to do with his character work without having to speak. So I feel like that's super impressive. His in-ring skills have gone a complete 180. So when he was doing like the goody two shoes, glass of white milk, American flag gimmick with his dad when they were tag teaming, to now, he's taken the influences from Psychosis and from Huta and from Ultimo, and he's shown that even with the details in his gear, he's shown that. So he's paying respects. He's moving on to the future. He's gonna be our generation and younger, like their Eddie, their Ray. I'm very, very prepared for that. So I'm incredibly happy and proud for Dominic for carving out a space in the sky that's not associated with his father anymore. And that's very, very difficult to do. It took Randy 1,000 years to do that. And him and his father weren't even in any major storylines together until later in his career. It's very difficult for a second, third generation superstar to get out of their father's shadow, i.e. Charlotte Flair had a wild time trying to get out of her father's shadow, but Dominic was able to do it with such speed and accuracy. It's very, very impressive. But the reason why Eddie is going to get it is because of the legacy that he's left behind, the importance that he's left behind. Very similar to how Shawn Michaels is the reason why most people got into wrestling. Very much the reason why Shawn Michaels' super kick is such a protective move. Why people say that there's a difference between sweet chin music and a regular super kick. Very similar to why there's a 5-star frog splash and then there's Eddie's frog splash. It wasn't just the height that he got. It was the accuracy with every movement. Like, for example, Montez Ford does a 5-star. It's a great frog splash, but you can tell that because he gets so high and his body's so long, it's kind of difficult to make it tight and concise. Same thing with Kevin Owens. Kevin Owens does a frog splash, but none of them will ever look like Eddie's because it was Eddie's frog splash. The importance of everything. Eddie was able to do high flying. Eddie was able to do the comedy skits with the immigration storyline with him and JBL, the Mamacita storyline between him and China, to the more serious storylines like the one between him and Ray, where they literally had a bleach blonde, like Jenko Jean wearing Dominic Mysterio in this storyline, and they had me emotionally invested, believing that these two best friends turned on each other. They had me crying when Eddie did the promo against Brock Lesnar, saying that he is an addict, but it's not an addict for the reason why you think he is. And he was able to connect with all of these people, almost to the point where when Eddie passed, it was like Selena passing. For everyone in the wrestling world. We were talking about him on another podcast that I was doing recently, and everyone cried talking about Eddie because that's how much of a long-lasting effect he has. Dominic completely has the opportunity to do so if he continues doing what he's doing, and I really hope to God he does, because he's such an incredibly promising talent. But it's Eddie. It's always going to be Eddie.
Oh, of course.
I love that great reasoning. That was great.
That was a really good reason. But yeah, Eddie moves on. Ooh, second round's looking good. But yeah, next matchup. This is when I was telling him about before, Joel. This is kind of what I wanted to talk about. But we have AJ Styles versus Neville or Pac. These two are great high flyers. But I'm gonna go with Pac. I'm gonna go with Neville. The reason why I choose Neville is because for me, Neville has been more impressive as a high flyer. He's very quick, very fast. Someone for his, physique who's more muscular than a typical cruiserweight or high flyer. He can move. He can his black arrow finisher, I believe it's called, that 450 in the air and to land perfectly every single time. That's not easy. It doesn't look easy. And I think no shade to AJ Styles. I love AJ Styles and his ability in the ring, but I just feel like Neville impresses me more as a high flyer than AJ. Again, I'm not saying AJ's a bad wrestler. I'm not saying he's a bad high flyer. I've seen his early TNA days and what he could do as an X Division, as they call it there. But there's something about Pac that's different, that I can't really put I don't want to base it off just his finisher alone. I know that's probably what it sounds like. But again, his moveset is just, I can't even put it to words. It's just, I guess it's a good thing that I can't put it to words of how good it is. That's all I can really say is just his in-ring ability is, I feel like it's much better as a high flyer specifically. I think AJ Styles is more of a technical wrestler too, more than a high flyer. So I probably wouldn't even give him the vote because of that as well. Joel, I almost called you AJ. Wow. Joel, I know you had a different opinion.
Yeah, because you already knew who I was going to go for.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me? The phenomenal one. Talking about phenomenal. Oh, he has such a good list of moves. Da 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 da. Have you ever seen AJ wrestle, Nick? Come
Obviously.
on. What are we talking about? I love Pac.
Obviously.
I love him. AJ is the man. They call him the phenomenal one for a reason.
I understand that, but
the X Division matches he had back in the day, he was doing moves. Again, he was another one that Ray was one of those guys that he's kind of done everything. You know what I mean? That there wasn't really much innovation, or they thought there wasn't much innovation you could do. AJ was one of those guys that was doing that. Him, Christopher Daniels, Chris Sabin, that whole little group in the X Division was really taking the high flying by storm, and they were really those guys. I just gotta go with AJ just because of the longevity. He's never really stopped being a high flyer. I know a lot of guys have stopped like midway, like even Eddie, like he at towards the end, like I would say, like in the once Ruthless Aggression started, he wasn't doing as much as the high flying stuff. But again, he was adapting to the wrestlers that were in WWE at the time, but also he was trying to do more storyline based stuff. So again, you would adjust to what you have to do. AJ has always been that guy. Even when he came in and he was older in WWE, he was still putting on great matches, still flying around the ring. Before the injury that he had last year, no one really knew. Like, if you tell him, yeah, AJ's 38, people will look at you like, whoa, what? He's that old, still flying around the ring? Like, what is he doing? He's one of those guys that just has been timeless. And yes, I'll give it to Pac. He's great and everything. I just think AJ, being the way that he's done it throughout all these years, always adapting to new situations, trying out new stuff, I gotta go with AJ.
Not mad at that. Chrissy, break the tiebreaker. Who do you have, AJ or
That's
Pac?
the most New York response I've ever heard, Joe. I swear to Lord, my Jesus. Yeah, sorry to break your heart. It's Pac. It's Pac. The reason why, it's because we're doing a high flyers list. AJ is a tech wrestler that has high flying moves.
Thank you.
Pac is a high flyer. Those are two different things. AJ is an amazing tech wrestler, amazing submission artist. He can do a little bit of everything, but the preemptive word in that statement is a little bit. His moveset is not primarily a high-flying moveset. If we're going to go based off of what the episode is based on, yeah, it's Pac. Pac has been doing this since NXT days, since indie days, and he's absolutely incredible. He managed to make a fake Mighty Mouse gimmick work with a cape. Not everyone can do that. I don't even think AJ can manage to make that fucking chicken shit into chicken salad, no matter what he would do. But Pac did. He managed to go to AEW and still keep the momentum. He still is doing ridiculous feats of both strength and athleticism to this day. AJ Styles came back from a 1-year injury, broke his foot, and now is out for a year again. So maybe he needs to relax.
He's older, though. You can't put that on him. He's 40-something now. Come on.
He's turning into the new Bobby Fish.
Yeah, but Ray, don't even start me on Ray. Ray's made of glass. Don't even start me on Ray.
Bobby Fish is made of glass. Bobby Fish is made of glass.
Bobby Fish is made of glass, 1,000%.
Bobby Fish is made out of plastic wrap.
I don't know what he's made out of.
My guy trips and he breaks like every bone in his body.
Oh, Jesus.
I can't even get in the ring, man.
Thank you, Chrissy. You tried to prove my point. Thank you.
It's very similar with AJ, where like he has a longer legacy, but I don't know, man. I don't know. Like, there's something about the bastard. There's something about Neville. Just the way that he moves, he can lead a dance backwards. Yeah. No one was really sure about Bo Dallas until he had that match with Neville in NXT, and that helped legitimize Bo Dallas. The matches that he's had in AEW have been phenomenal, especially with the House of Black members. Like AJ's great, but if we're going just based off of match quality as well as everything else and movesets and everything combined, it goes to Neville for me. It goes to Neville for me. Don't get me wrong, AJ had that really cool moment where he was in like some random dude's like country music video all those years ago. That's great. I'm happy for him.
Yeah.
But it's Neville for this one.
Yeah.
Even match quality, that was a crazy statement. I'll give you high flying, but match quality, Pac over AJ?
No, but once again, I'm not saying that AJ has bad matches. I'm not saying that Neville has bad matches. I'm saying that they both have good matches. So if they're both basically on a similar level when it comes to that, you have to look to other standpoints. You have to.
And to add on, I don't think. Sorry, go ahead.
No offense, I'm less bored with Neville than I would be with AJ.
Really, not a fan of AJ.
No, I am a fan of. I am a fan of it. Let me put it like this: it's like AJ's like the regular like Big Mac meal, but if you pay an extra like $1.25, you can up it to like a large. Neville's the extra $1.25.
Oh, okay.
The way
I
way
think
I
it's the
put
other
it,
way around, but okay.
The way I put it is that I think Pac could do everything that AJ can do, but I don't think AJ could do everything that Pac could do.
That's a good point too. I like that. It's like how every sneaker, how every Nike is a sneaker, but not every sneaker is a Nike.
yeah.
Okay.
True.
I'll give it to y'all. All right.
True. Thank you, Chrissy. You proved everything. I appreciate you. Let's go.
Go.
I couldn't say it, but you got it from me. Thank you. We got next matchup. We got Mustafa Ali going up against Ray Phoenix. Joel, do you want to get this one off for us?
Ray Phoenix.
Yeah.
Do I gotta give an explanation?
You don't have to, but I think it's you don't have
Ray
to.
Phoenix.
Yeah. He's trying to go to bed. He got
it's like move on.
Shout out Mustafa, but if we're really gonna compare these two, come on, it's Ray.
Christy, would you agree? Do you have to have explanation on Ray Phoenix, or do you choose Mustafa Ali?
Y'all are killing me. I swear. Yeah, I gotta agree. It's Ray. It's the reason. It's a very similar reason for some of the other ones where like Mustafa. Thank you guys actually for saying the gentleman's name correctly, dear Lord.
Yeah,
super appreciate that on his behalf.
Say Mustafa, and it's like it's
I
Mustafa.
swear to God. But for Mustafa, it's very much a similar thing with AJ. Mustafa is a great mat tech that has high flying moves in his set, but he's not necessarily a high flying wrestler for me in particular. Ray is a high flyer. That is what he's labeled as. And he's incredible at what he does. The work that he's done with Penta is absolutely amazing. Unfortunately, he's another one where he's kind of like if you blow air on him in a certain way, he'll like collapse into 1,000 pieces. But when he's not on the injured list, he does incredible work. Some of the matches that they've done where it's him and Penta versus the Young Bucks are some of my most favorite matches of all time when it comes to tag divisions.
Mm-hmm.
So once again, I'm so glad that Mustafa is having this renaissance in his career for himself. The fact that he's taken himself from such a low bar when he was working with WWE to being one of the most asked for and sought after talents on the indie circuit. I'm so incredibly happy that he's getting the flowers that he does deserve. Yeah. But when it comes to this list, it's Ray Phoenix.
Oh, of course. I mean, I'm glad that I'm going to go with Ray Phoenix as well. Mustafa, I do wish that we would have seen this side of Mustafa the entire WWE run that he's had. So I think now he's proving himself more as a high flyer than he was before. But Ray Phoenix, I just feel like we just seen more of him. You know, we've seen him in different match styles. He's been in steel cage matches, ladder matches, and probably different other style of matches that we've seen. And it's just the moves that he's done off the cages, off the ladders. It's insane, man. This guy is like, I would put him out there with Neville. He's such a good in-ring, high flyer, and it's just insane. But the amount of moves that he can pull, it's just he's super talented in the ring. It just Mustafa. I just wish we got more time to see him in his WWE do more, and he's proven himself too. He went from a 205 guy, 205 live guy that probably wasn't going to get a chance at all, but he did prove himself a lot to get to the point to where he is today, to where he was given the opportunity, he made the most out of it, and he's continuing to do it now. He's going everywhere. He's improving his work. But I think now we're just seeing the prime of Mustafa. Where we've seen more of a prime of Ray Phoenix than Mustafa. So, again, this is another one where I could say maybe give Mustafa a couple more years. Maybe I could change my mind. And I would have chosen Ali over Ray Phoenix. But Ray Phoenix is just on another level of in-ring work. And he's again one of my favorite. Like, I'm gonna agree with you, Chrissy, with one of my favorite tag team matches of all time. I would say at All Out 2 years ago, 3 years ago. That match is like wow. I that again just him and Penta. Are just they also go well together in as a tag team and as opponents as well. So his matches are just make me a fan of high flying and lucha wrestling. And I hope he gets signed to WWE anytime soon. But yeah, I want to go with Ray Phoenix. Ray is just super, super talented as a high flyer. But yeah, next matchup, we do have TJ Perkins versus another 205 Live original Cedric Alexander. Chrissy, who do you have as a better high flyer between the two?
Oh, this is tough for me. This was tough for me. This is a hard one. These are my hearts, man. Like personal lives aside, just based on wrestling, TJ Perkins is one of the people that got me drawn into the Cruiserweight Classic. Very similar with Cedric. But man, if we're just I'm gonna hate myself for this. If we're just going based off of the criteria that we've been going off of, it has to go to TJ for me. Oh, I saw him live at an MLW show, and the work that man does live is insane. Don't like him as a person, but man, he's really, really good.
Yeah.
He's really, really good in ring. So I'll give flowers where flowers are due.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
TJ.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I'm gonna go with Cedric though. I feel like I've seen a lot more better match quality out of Cedric. I mean, maybe I'm being biased here because I haven't seen TJ. I mean, I know he's been wrestling ever since he got released by WWE, but I haven't really watched a lot of his matches. So maybe that's why I'm not choosing him. But I feel like out of Cedric, even when he's now in NXT, I think he's still putting on great matches. I mean, his match against Ibushi at the Cruiserweight Classic was the reason that got him signed and the reason that got me a fan of him. He and his I don't know I forgot what his finisher is called. The one that he does, like he uses his knees on the person's back. That viral clip that he did with Candice LeRae. Yeah, and
I love that move.
Yeah, I mean, he's just very talented in the ring, and I think I just became more of a fan of him than TJ. I feel like WWE had more faith in TJ because they made him the first Cruiserweight champion, the rebooted Cruiserweight champion, I should say. But I just feel like it still is a promising future for Cedric. I know there's a different situation than TJ. He's in the United Empire. He's been killing it in New Japan. So there's a reason why he's in the position that he is today. But again, I just feel like it's being biased of watching more Cedric matches. That's still promising that one day he'll be champion again. And me just rooting for the underdog, I guess. But I think also, and to add on, Cedric I feel has a better moveset than TJ. And I just know I don't know why. I just feel like I never really resonated with TJ at all. I don't know if it's because of the person that he is, or just I don't think he's a decent wrestler. I don't know. I just feel like Cedric has a lot more to offer and still does to this day. So I'm gonna have to go with Cedric here. Joel, break the ice.
Yeah, this is a close one. I'm gonna have to go with TJ though. TJ, I love Cedric, but TJ is just a couple levels above Cedric. And then also like with the Cruiserweight Classic and WWE putting that faith in him and him doing what he could with that belt. You know what I mean? Like he was really trying his best. They weren't giving them nothing. Like he really tried his best.
They gave him
and he
a
was
good entrance, and that was it. They gave him the Scott Pilgrim entrance, and they were like,
the Mega Man entrance.
And then they would get like 4 minutes, but those were probably the best 4 minutes of Raw. And you know what I mean? So I gotta give that to TJ.
Yeah, that was true.
Love
Cedric though, but TJ's
love
just
Cedric down. Love Cedric down.
Yeah.
The work that he's doing right now with Ashanti Adonis and NXT.
Yeah,
where they got those boys rizzing up those white girls in the backstage
Ooh, yeah.
area. My favorite thing right now. My lord.
He's also teaming with Javon Evans, which is also cool because
and once again, like it goes to show just how much Sean understands that these young talent need to learn from people that have been where they have been. And man, does Cedric understand how it is fighting up from the bottom.
Exactly.
From Hurt Business to being let go to being brought back again, and now he's in NXT. So I hope and pray that they utilize Cedric Alexander in the way that he deserves to be utilized.
Exactly.
He's an amazing talent. He is.
Yeah, and he deserves a lot more. I feel like both of these guys deserve their flowers, but it's very tough. I don't hate TJ. It's just like I said, I just feel like I haven't watched much of him to really put him over. But I'm not mad at because I've seen him on Raw, obviously during the 205 live days. But I don't know, but not a bad pick to move to the next round. Last matchup, we have Ultimo Dragon going up against RVD. Chrissy, do you want to start this one off? Who would you choose? I hate it.
I hate it.
I know. I hate this app too, man. I got to change this.
RVD, I feel like is a very, very obvious answer. I don't feel like anyone would really fight me on RVD, but Ultimo Dragon did, once again, a lot of important groundwork in the early 90s when it came to WCW and everything else that he's done. Man, my people are going to hate me, but it goes to the white boy. It has to go to RVD. And I hate it. And not that I hate it because one deserves it more than the others, because I wish for this particular one that I didn't have to pick. But yeah, RVD is not only a high flyer with a very, very large breadth in his high flyer moveset, but he's also a great martial artist. He's also a great ground tech. So in terms of, like we've been saying this entire podcast, in terms of total packages, it's RVD for that.
Yeah, that is true. Joel, do you agree RVD or do you go Ultimate Dragon?
I gotta go Ultimo because I just don't want to see him go down 0. I can't see him get swept. I know how this is going because I want to pick RVD. I can't let Ultimo go out 3-0.
He said he gotta get more.
That's the guy. I can't let him go out 3-0. That's nuts. So I'm gonna go Ultimo. But
I'm glad you chose Ultimo because I also didn't want to see him get swept because I am choosing RVD. I think RVD, as I said before, with Eddie, also has a great frog splash. Added a little twist to it. It won't be the same as Eddie. That's Eddie's move. I always die on the hill. That's Eddie's move. I don't care who's still. Rey Mysterio could have done it. I still would have said Eddie's move.
Mm-hmm.
No one could take that away from him. I'm glad RVD had a little twist to it by just spinning around and finishing it. But I feel like I'm not good with move names, but when he does the roll in the ring, the Rolling Thunder. Yeah. There you go. His moveset impresses me. I guess I guess you could say he's a little bit more of a technical side too, but he's more of a high flyer because he's always jumping off the ropes, diving through tables, doing a whole bunch of impressive moves. I mean, also I wasn't really a WCW fan. I started watching wrestling later in life, but watching Ultimo Dragon highlights, he is great in the ring. But I feel like RVD he also had the full package. He had a lot of faith with Paul Heyman at ECW. With being the guy to pin Cena for 2 belts. Still going at it today at 50 something years old. Also someone in great shape who hasn't lost a touch. And he can still move exactly how he was 20 years ago.
Which is insane.
Yeah, which you can't say a lot about certain people. I'm not going to name names. Chris Jericho. But it's not a lot of people can do that, So RVD is the guy.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah.
This is a safe space. You can say whatever you want.
I know.
I ain't sticking up for Jack nothing. You can say whatever you want.
Yeah, but
learning tree, whatever.
Yeah, he's got to learn to wrestle at 50. Maybe you should learn from RVD. Yeah, I'm going to go with RVD with this one. Thankfully, you didn't have Ultimate Dragon get swept, Joel.
Yeah, I couldn't let that happen. Are you kidding me?
Yeah,
that's he's a
for
legend.
For the people.
Yeah, for the people. Yeah, man. We've got
people would they would have crucified us if he went down 3-0.
Yeah. I would have stopped the show if you would have chosen RVD.
Just stop everything. Man. Just stop it.
I'm like, yo, redo this. Yeah, let's go back. Yeah, but the next matchup, this is where it gets harder. Now we got the next matchup in the bracket. We got Rey Mysterio and Evan Bourne. Is there a debate for this one though?
You thought he said, "Oh, it's gonna get harder."
I said it, but then I realized, like, wait, it's Evan
Not in
Bourne.
this one right now.
Besides this one, I mean,
Nick, just put the 3. Just put the 3.
Put the 3. Okay. We all agree.
Yeah, just put the 3. Yeah.
We might be able to get this done in an hour.
Yeah, probably. No explanation. Rey Mysterio moves on to the next round. Now, this is a tough one too. We got Will Ospreay going up against Eddie Guerrero.
I'll say it, Eddie. Who said it's hard?
I mean, okay. I understand why you chose Eddie.
Eddie's the blueprint. Eddie's the reason. Eddie's your favorite high flyer's favorite high flyer. Eddie's probably Will Ospreay's favorite wrestler. Like, what do you mean hard?
I'm not, because I'm looking at it towards like, not just in the ring quality wise, but if they were to have a match against each other.
Eddie's
Nick, I don't know if you want to do this right now. I don't know if you don't want him to get swept, but put that 1 next to him because I'm picking Eddie.
I mean, you know what? I'm probably gonna choose Eddie too. I mean, because it'll be a great debate. I'm not saying like, I know like if you ask 100 people, 99 at least will say Eddie Guerrero. I'm not saying anything bad about Eddie. I'm not saying that. But I'm saying Will Ospreay is also very, 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 very good.
No, absolutely.
In the ring.
I don't know, man. For me personally, like, it feels like Will Ospreay is coming towards an end of his career. I would say in the next 4 or 5 years. Very similar to Danielson. Ospreay's done incredible things all over the world. And he is a very important figure in wrestling, in his division, in his style of wrestling. There's no taking that away from him. But just if we're going based off of all of that and also just levels of importance, when Will Ospreay stops wrestling, it will nowhere near be as historic or integral or as important to the sport of wrestling as to what Eddie did. Both of them having amazing careers. Will Ospreay has had an amazing career. People would pay money, would give up a limb to have the career that Will Ospreay's had. But when the chapter is turned and the page is over, whatever euphemism you want to use, when Will Ospreay stops wrestling and you go apples to oranges between Will Ospreay's career and Eddie's career will be, for lack of a better term, more important to the history of professional wrestling than Will Ospreay's will have been when it's over.
Of course.
1,000% agree. 1,000% agree. Because even though I talked earlier about Ospreay and the innovation, you need to innovate something. And where did that come from?
Yeah, that's true.
You gotta look at the roots, baby, the roots.
And that just goes to show how good Eddie is, because like it's like what you said, in order to innovate, you have to innovate something. Eddie innovated so hard to the point where people think he originated this shit. Same thing with Ray. Eddie went and shot so far beyond the moon that people forget that there's people that came before Eddie and Ray.
Yeah.
With Ospreay, he's great, but they know that Ospreay had influences. Not a lot of people know who Eddie's influences are, but they are aware of who Eddie influenced.
Yeah.
And that's a huge deal.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah. But I was also looking at it like,
shit, man.
I'm not saying anything against Eddie. I agree with 1,000% what you said, Chrissy. But I think I'm just saying like Ospreay could be like the next, people could influence off Ospreay.
Oh no, yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, but I do agree with you. I would have said Eddie anyways, but like both these guys are just great in-ring talents, so
ridiculously good.
Yeah, ridiculously good. But yeah, another clean sweep with Eddie here. Neville versus Pac is the next matchup. I know we've seen this, the team with Death Triangle, but I'm gonna have to go with Neville. I mean, I love Ray, but it's just I want to stick to what I said before with Neville. There's just a lot of things he can do. Both these are great high flyers. Don't get me wrong. And I know I said with Ray, we've seen him in so many different styles of matches and not really much from Pac. But I feel like if kind of what I said with AJ, I feel like Neville can do what Phoenix can do on high flying stuff. You can say the same thing with Ray, vice versa. But I don't know. I just feel like Neville has had a long impact of how I see high flyers. And if I were a high flyer as a wrestler today, if I started training, I would probably model my game after Pac. And I'm not saying people like have influence on him. I don't know if he maybe do. He may have people that have looked up to him and watched him grow up,
Of
you know.
course, yeah.
But I don't know. I just feel like Pac is on another level with his high flying ability, and I don't know. I just sees. I think Chrissy said it all the last round with like just him doing that black arrow, and you know, I feel like he'll have a long lasting career. By the time they both retire, I think Pac can go down as one of the top high flyer in history of wrestling. But I know he doesn't have the accolades to back that up, and Ray Phoenix probably does. But I just think his in-ring ability is better. That's just my opinion. Joel, who would you say, Neville or Pac? Or Neville or Phoenix? I just said the same person. Neville or Phoenix.
You know what's going to be interesting? Because I'm going to put Chrissy in the hot seat. I'm going to put Ray. I'm going to pick Ray Phoenix.
Ooh. Why is that?
I think he's more versatile than Neville, Pac, whatever you want to call him in this round. I just think I personally am more invested in Ray matches than Pac's. Not saying that Pac is horrible, whatever, but just Ray, I feel like he's a mix between the old school high flying and also the innovation. Like he doesn't take it as far as Ospreay and Ricochet do, but he gets to that point that it's borderline. So I think he's a mix of the two styles, and that's why I'm gonna go with Ray.
Okay, Chrissy, you're in the hot seat now. Who do you say, Phoenix or Pac?
Y'all wild for this one. Oh, okay. If we're going based off of what the very loose criteria we've had for this podcast, Lord, I've jumped left to right. I'm not even gonna lie about that. Oh God. Ray, it's Ray.
Okay.
Para la gente, para mi raza, for everything.
Mm-hmm.
It has to be Ray. And I love Pac, but man, they both have in-ring acumen. They both have amazing in-ring skills, but just I feel Neville does three things really, really, really good. Ray does a lot more in terms of high fly moveset than Neville does. Not saying Neville's not great, he is, but in terms of the high flying moveset of it all, he has the black arrow, he has what he does, and it's great, but it's got to be Ray for me. Someone's gonna yell at me in the comments.
No. Ray's a good pick. I mean, Ray's an excellent pick. Yeah. It's not anything bad.
We're deeper in. These are all the guys, every one that was on this list are top guys. So we can't even be mad on like who we pick. It's all opinion based.
I know it's only going to be one, but yeah, Joel, it's only an opinion thing. You know, if it's just, I mean, it's just all these could be the winners of this. I mean, everyone's a winner here. You know what I mean?
Let this guy.
Exactly. Everyone won this, man. Yeah.
Everyone gets a trophy.
There's 16 winners here. I don't know what you're talking about. You know, that's how I see it. But yeah, we got the last matchup in this round. We got TJ Perkins and RVD.
Just put the check up, Nick.
Yeah, just put it.
Yeah,
oh wait, you put it on the wrong. No.
I would my camera off.
Yeah. Joel, sorry, but goodbye.
I would have deleted Nick and blocked him off of IG. The whole thing. The whole thing.
That's it. Disassociated.
It was real nice to meet you, but
imagine we both did TJ Perkins. He would have left immediately.
How does
Chrissy's the only one talking about RVD. My bad.
Yeah.
Legitimately, like, talk to your AI. Talk to your AI. What you mean Ray and Eddie are set?
I know this.
Let's talk about it.
Yeah, let's talk about it. I know.
I don't want to know. Go to the other one first. I don't.
Fine.
Do I do the other one first?
Yeah, it's this one first.
We could do this one first.
Joel, kick this one off.
RVD.
Yeah.
RVD.
So I mean, so I heard you agree, Chrissy. So you say RVD.
For me too.
Okay, yeah. I mean, I guess I'll do it too. I mean, it's only the legacy of RVD. I know people probably, a lot of Latin upcoming wrestlers probably look up to Ray Phoenix. Hands down.
For me with RVD, it goes for the same thing between Ospreay and Eddie, where it's like they'll both have amazing careers.
Yeah.
But if you go apples to oranges from Ray's entire career in comparison to RVD's entire career, RVD will just hold more importance and prevalence to me personally.
Oh yeah, and probably to a lot of people as well.
Yeah, he had ECW together at the at the last days, man. He was holding that up.
Yeah, exactly.
So you gotta give it to-
longevity wise, you have to give it to RVD.
He managed to get
yeah.
WWE to do a 420 reference on like
yeah.
He had rolling papers in a backstage segment with Riddle.
At the Hall of Fame too.
You got to be real special to get that kind of fucking attention with no like blowback. He was out there with both of his wives at the Hall of Fame.
Yes, both of them, right?
Both of his wives with RVD branded 420 rolling papers. You can't get more G than that unless like Snoop Dogg does your fucking entrance music. Like,
yeah. Jeez, yeah. RVD's the man.
Yeah, that's the guy right there, man.
That's the guy.
I'm gonna throw up. Okay. I can't. Y'all gonna have to. I can't.
I'll go first with this one. Oh my god.
Yeah.
Do you want to go first? Do you want to go first?
We'll leave Chrissy for last because we already know how.
Because I'm having a panic attack.
I mean, you go first. You go first, Joel.
It's Eddie.
Yeah.
It's Eddie.
I mean, yeah, I'm gonna go with Eddie too.
Shit, you two! I think you gotta put Ray.
I would have put Ray. I would have put Ray because Ray is my favorite superstar of all time. But I think you said it earlier, Joel.
You could talk about Eddie without Ray, but you can't talk about Ray without Eddie.
Exactly. That's why I said it. I mean, I think Eddie has the more influence.
Yeah.
To influence Ray like that. It in probably generations to come. People. Probably when they get into wrestling, a lot of people probably say, "Hey, watch an Eddie match."
See, I would fight y'all on that. Not that you can't say Eddie without Ray or Ray without Eddie. I'm not fighting you on that. You're very, very right. But in terms of importance,
they both are.
I would press for the sake of high flyings in the luchador subsection of wrestling. It's Ray. Because of the family lineage, because of the fact that he worked the indies back in, like Mexico, like lower southern Texas, like areas, the fact that Eddie got tied in with Ray, and then it was kind of the Shawn Michaels effect between Eddie and Ray. Ray was important, and then Eddie came along, and then Eddie became a little bit more important. But there is no Eddie without Ray. It's Shawn Michaels finding Hunter in the airport and being like, yo, you want to hang out with Kevin Nash and me and Scott Hall. There's no DX without Shawn finding Hunter. There's no Eddie without Ray finding him.
Oh, I'm not saying that.
And mentoring him and being with him. So if we were going based off of the whole importance to the game of it all, I feel like for the sake of high flyers, it would have been Ray. It is Ray for me because going back to AJ Styles, Eddie's a luchador and a mat technician sense that has high flying moves in his set. Ray is a high flyer by choice, by craft, by vocation. That's Ray. Don't get me wrong. There is no Ray without Eddie, but there is definitely no Eddie without Ray because Ray kind of took Eddie under his wing. But for some reason, not saying that it's not deserved, because I love these two men are my heart. These two men are my everything when it comes to the world of wrestling. Because Joe, you're Puerto Rican, so y'all understand like the world's like Latinos, like it doesn't matter if you're Mexican, Dominican, whatever, like Hispanic. I'm rooting for everyone Latin. That's how it is. Yeah. If my team don't make it, I'm pulling out someone else's flag. Just cause, like, that's how we are. That's how we were raised. So seeing these two men that look like people that grew up in my neighborhood, people that were in my family, knowing that the wrestling world may not be super kind to us, but if we want something, that we have to take it. And those two men took it and they ran with it forever. Forever to this day. I just got one of my best friends in the world a hat with Eddie Guerrero on a lowrider on it, and he adores that thing because that's how much they've made themselves into pop culture. Eddie and Ray still show up on streetwear designs to this day, and people wear those things with pride. People talk about them and get emotional because that's how much they've meant to us. Both of these men are my entire heart. I would never want this to be the final match, let alone it not being the final match because we still got a lot to go. But yeah, for me, it goes to Ray because without Ray, there is no Eddie. Without Ray, there is no Eddie.
You know what?
I'll give you that.
It's not too late to change my decision, and I'm going to do that. I don't do it often on this show. But I'm doing it with this one. I think Chrissy just
I
convinced me
came
otherwise.
prepared with no.
Wow.
Damn it.
And-
Wow.
No, because
TJ
I-
just with a little sentence.
No,
But like, can Ray do a whole
wait.
technical match? But Eddie can. But can
Because-
Eddie do a whole lucha match?
No,
Yes,
because
he can.
Ray got me. Was the people that I saw wrestling. I'm like, hey, I love this guy, and not just the way he wrestles, but I love what he represents. And I think with the whole Chrissy's reasoning, that just made me realize why I fell in love with wrestling to begin with, and it was
Like, no, like I love y'all to death and to pieces,
Yeah.
but to go based off of what you said, he is literally your favorite's favorite.
Yeah,
Eddie went to Ray. And
Yeah.
that's where Eddie got the little extra, little like magic
Got
pissy
the-
dust,
okay.
adobo, whatever he needed to season himself to move
Okay.
forward and to take over the industry in the immense way that he did.
yeah.
But you got to give it to, like, if you love the Turtles, you love Master Splinter. That's how that works.
Yeah.
There is no there is no TMNT without Master Splinter. Ray is Eddie's.
I don't know if I'm giving Ray that much credit though.
Woo!
Ooh,
Yeah.
okay.
I'm telling Dominic.
Let's
Oh.
talk because we're giving all this credit to Ray, but we're not talking about Juventud. We're not talking about Psychosis. All these guys were flying around doing their thing.
Yeah, was Eddie
We can't
running
just
with
say, "Yo,
Juventud
Ray
like
was
that, like
the
that?"
Ray was the guy." He's just the guy that got signed to WWE.
I'm so sorry.
And also another hot take. Hold on. Nah, because since Nick changed his answer, I'm gonna give a little hot take, and then we could go to the last round. Ray only won the belt because Eddie passed. All right, let's go back to Rey Mysterio
man.
versus RVD.
Yo, Chrissy, let's forget he said that.
I'm so
I'm gonna
sorry.
put that
Is that
out
not
there
a
as well.
fact?
Yeah.
Was Rey Mysterio ever in the title picture until Eddie Guerrero
I
passed?
apologize.
He was
that
always-
Rey Mysterio, I apologize that Rey Mysterio dating Tori Wilson made you think as a brown boy that a tall blonde girl would be into you, and that didn't happen in your real life.
I'm just
because
saying.
that didn't happen to you.
I'm
Don't
just
go at Ray
saying.
for that. Don't
Yeah,
get
don't
at
go
Ray.
at Ray.
I'm
because
just
he had aura
saying,
like
we're
that.
giving him
Don't
a little
get mad
too
at
much
Ray because
credit.
he had aura
I
like
love
that.
Ray. I love Ray.
Don't
We're
get
just
mad
giving
because
him.
Ray's 4'8" and is still pulling
We're
baddies
giving
and
him a
rolling
little
with him and rolling
too.
with Snoop Dogg.
We're giving him a little too much credit. That's all I'm saying.
Clip
He's
this,
great
clip
in the
this,
ring.
clip
Yeah,
this,
I'm
Ray
gonna
Mysterio.
clip it. I'm
Clip
definitely
it.
clip this.
Clip it, because we're giving him a
Clip
little
this,
too
clip
much
this.
credit over Eddie.
Too much credit is crazy.
Too much.
Oh
No,
my
he
God.
gets
I'm
it. He
coming
gets
back.
enough credit. He gets the best credit that anyone
Come
can
on,
get.
everything
He-
that he does is tied to who?
No.
Think about it. He
It's-
brought back what? LWO? Who started it? Who never wanted to join LWO? That was a storyline. Ray. Come on.
I mean,
everything he does, everything that he says is tied to.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Because he got the influence from Ray. He got the
Okay.
sign off, the blessing from Ray. You think all those storylines that Hunter ever
Listen.
did was his idea by himself with no assistance?
Okay.
I mean,
Okay.
it's a
Listen,
bracket.
last
it's a bracket.
round.
Last round.
Listen.
It's last round. I mean, both of them were great. It was hard, but Rey Mysterio won the matchup.
Yeah.
No disrespect to
good.
Eddie.
That was
Eddie
good.
was Eddie. But
Incredible
And it's
point,
his
Joe.
anniversary tomorrow. I expected better than that to ya. Come on.
No, shout out to Eddie though. I'm like, no, it was a tough decision. It was a tough matchup, but one of them had to win, and it was Ray.
I would have rather it just not ending there. The camera.
Yeah. But let's get on to the finals anyways. We got to finish the bracket. We got Rey Mysterio going up against RVD. I'm going to start this one off. I'm going to just continue basically what everything we said in the previous rounds. It's got to be Ray with the influence. And just not because it's a personal reason. I feel like he probably influenced a lot of wrestling fans, not just in a wrestling way, but in a personal way, because that's how I feel about Ray. Ray's influenced me personally. Outside of wrestling. Obviously, I'm not a wrestler. I'm not athletic. I can't do anything anybody does in the wrestling ring. But Ray
I feel you.
is just someone who I can look up to and someone who's influenced a lot of people today. Up and coming wrestlers. You know, I'm not saying Eddie doesn't have it or RVD doesn't have it. I'm sure RVD's had a lot of influencers people too. Obviously, had a great run. He was on NXT last week. So I think Ray, longevity-wise, influenced a lot more people and was a better high flyer in the ring. The quickness he had back in the day, kind of what Chrissy's been saying previously. If you're talking about high flyer specifically, it's Ray. RVD does have technicality in him, so he's not 100% a high flyer. I think Rey Mysterio is more of a high flyer than RVD. So I'm going with Rey Mysterio here. Joel, who would you say? Rey Mysterio or RVD?
Personally, I'm going RVD. I don't want to see that 0, but also I think he's a fucking man, bro. Come on. He was doing things that were just ridiculous at the time that he was doing it. I get it, Ray's done all this other stuff, but RVD, especially for a guy that was built, man. He was built for a guy flying around like that at the size he was really impressive.
It was. Shout out RVD. Chrissy, who would you say?
Have solid points, and I just want to say this entire podcast, y'all have had such incredible insight and legitimate reasoning, both based in factual statements and also based in personal, like emotional based statements. So honestly, bravo for the work that you guys do on a consistent basis. And I'm super glad to be here for this particular one. When it comes to importance of careers, a lot of people assume and break it down to things like championship runs, things that are gifted and granted like that. The example I'm going to use is Roddy Piper, where Roddy Piper is probably one of the most popular and famous wrestlers to ever be in the game and has never won an official world title, before his passing. But to this day, he's mentioned in history books when it comes to the sport that we all know and love. He's mentioned as huge influences when it comes to some of your favorites like CM Punk. So just because they weren't granted or gifted or allowed the bigger things in their careers doesn't mean that they're any less important. RVD, I feel like numbers wise has more titles with him just on an over under in comparison to Ray. But when it comes to just everything top to bottom, it's Ray for me. RVD, as Joel said, has an amazing stature, and to be able to move the way that he does with being as big as he is, incredibly impressive. But from the way that they came up to the careers that they had, to the influence that they had, the impact that they continuously have. One example I love to bring up is that someone said that Rey Mysterio is not a household name. And I'm like, well, you're asking the wrong households.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
All I want to do is just show not even one of his masks, just a lucha mask. And someone who is not aware of wrestling will automatically assume it's Ray's.
Yep.
Yeah.
It may not even be a Ray design, but they see a luchador mask and they assume Rey Mysterio.
I was going to bring that up too.
The most you can do with RVD is like the yin and yang symbol, I believe, which still, like it's a good thing for RVD, and he's amazing. And I will never take that away from him. He has such an amazing career. But just with the impact to this day of what Rey Mysterio means, not only for the wrestling community, but just for the culture. And for when I say the culture, if you know what I mean, you know what I mean. Like he has such a far wide spread to even when after he's gone, very similar to Eddie, even after he's gone, he's going to have such an incredible, indelible impact on the world of wrestling. And it's never going to end. With RVD, I can kind of see him fading away as the centuries go on. But when it comes to people like Rey Mysterio and Eddie Guerrero, it's like caveman drawings on the walls. Like you will be able to go back as far as time allows and find what these men meant to people, meant to us. And that's what this means for me. This is a completely personal choice. I can bring up logistics in which we all have, but if we're going to go, if this is what it is and for the sport that we love, it's Ray for me. It's always going to be Ray.
Of course.
100%.
Of course. Great reasonings. Well, I guess that pretty much wraps it up, Ray.
Yes,
the three of us, the greatest high flyer on this list. Great points from all three of us.
Sense.
Yeah, great points from all of us. This is a great episode. Chrissy, thank you again for coming on.
Yes, thank you.
I will.
This was a great episode.
Great episode. My favorite one so far. And I'm gonna let you shout your stuff out because you also put in great work. I want you to shout your own stuff because I've been watching your stuff for quite some time now. I love your work. Shout yourself out. This is all yours.
Before I sign off, once again, Nick, Joel, this is just an absolute honor to be able to work with you guys. I am an incredibly big fan of both of you and what you guys do for the wrestling community. It is a very, very area filled with landmines sometimes when it comes to the IWC and people who have podcast mics, but you guys are so incredibly intelligent with your takes and well-researched and funny and everything. And you guys are everything to me. And I love y'all to death. Thank you so much for the opportunity. And with that, Hi, babies. My name is Chrissy Tina across all social media platforms. Please make sure that you're checking me out on TikTok, which is my mainstay. Make sure that you're checking out the Familia. We all have amazing content. Check out runtheropes.shop, where you can get amazing merchandise like the Familia shirt itself. Everyone in the Familia has merch on runtheropes.shop. Check me and my partner out, Patrick, on Monday Night Raw for TikTok Live, where we are the Monday Night Warriors. Make sure you check out NXT Rewind on Saturdays, TikTok Live, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, where we are now going through the performance center stages of our Join Made 2K24 character Trix. So y'all can see the amazing times and adventures of Trix as he goes through his NXT Rewind backstage segments at the Performance Center. And we're going to be having something new come up on Sundays called the Trauma Time Machine, where me and my co-host Patrick just talk about the mental health state of ourselves and what it means to be just a man and a woman in the world that kind of sort of hates us, and how we cope with that. And the way that you get through those moments is with amazing friends and family like Nick and Joelle. And like I always like to say, you may not be able to trust your friends, but you can always trust your family.
That is
Thank
awesome.
you guys
That is so true.
much for having me here.
That's awesome. That is
Thank
awesome.
you for coming on.
Yeah, for sure, man.
I had really fun.
Yeah, this was cool. And we will make sure to leave everything in the description so people can follow along with La Familia and Chrissy Tina. And thank you again for coming on Season 2, Episode 10. Nick, Chrissy, Joelle. We'll see you guys next time.
Gotcha.